car chase, one of the ultimate expressions in action filmmaking. Big, loud, fast, and dangerous. I've seen just about every great car chase cinema has to offer, and what I'd like to do with this video essay is approach the construction of a car chase scene from a filmmaker's perspective, break down the points that the best car chases share, and warn against the common pitfalls that can ruin a car chase. I've isolated 8 key points in conception and execution that the best car chases share. Let's start by looking at the simple matter of how to shoot a car chase. When looking at the best car chases that cinema has to offer, one key commonality is the use of a grounded POV. Whether that be through the literal point of view of the driver or the car itself, or getting the camera in motion with the characters, often editing back and forth between the two. Cutting outside the car to occasional wides and maintaining a sense of clear geometry for the viewer is important, but POV shots can convey a sense of speed better than a static shot from a camera positioned off in the distance. All of the best car chases get the camera in motion and integrate the audience's perspective, making the viewer a part of the chase itself rather than just a bystander. For an acclaimed film that fails in this department, we can look to The Italian Job. I know it's a classic of the car chase subgenre and tons of people love it, but The Italian Job does not deliver on what I personally look for in a good car chase. And one of its biggest failings is its lack of perspective. Plenty of the stunt driving on display is undeniably impressive, yet it's all shot in bland, wide shots that lack any sense of speed. Compare this to the chases in the likes of Vanishing Point. Bullitt. Or the 7-Ups. And the difference is night and day. One thing that The Italian Job does nail is our next point of focus: clarity. Even though the film industry seemed to forget this for a while in the post-Bourne era, clarity is of utmost importance in action scenes. Whether it be a fight scene, a shootout, or a car chase, clear visuals and steady rhythmic editing benefit an action sequence, while shaky cam and quick cutting can flat out ruin an action sequence. This car chase from Quantum of Solace might be the absolute worst offender when it comes to clarity. This shit is borderline incomprehensible, or maybe even a little bit past that. The shots are way too shaky and the editing is so unbearably frenetic that even at 50% speed, it's still too much of a mess to follow. Like, what is this shot? Why is this in here? Why are we constantly jumping back and forth between the 180-degree line? Why can't we tell Bond's car apart from his pursuers? Why are we constantly cutting from shots of Bond steering to slightly different shots of Bond steering? It's like, just hang on one of them. I don't even know how many cars are pursuing Bond, and I've gone through this scene frame by frame in an editing program. Now let's compare that to another shaky and quick cut chase scene found in the Bourne Supremacy, which is the film most responsible for this wave of shaky cam action that plagued Hollywood filmmaking for so long. Basically until John Wick reminded people of how nice clarity is. This chase is shot with extremely shaky camera work, but even the Bourne Supremacy lets each shot linger just long enough to register with the viewer and avoid becoming an incomprehensible jumble. Notice how a wide overhead shot is thrown into the mix to help keep the viewer oriented during this collision, and how Bourne's look and a rack focus connect us from one vehicle to the other and establish the geometry of the scene. A shaky aesthetic doesn't have to mean a total loss of clarity. This is still a fairly exciting chase scene, even if it is quite a bit shakier than I would prefer. Gareth Evans perfected the unsteady action aesthetic in the Raid films, which are always handheld and are quite shaky technically speaking, but the action is always crystal clear, and that visual aesthetic translates wonderfully into a car chase. On the opposite end of the clarity spectrum from that Quantum of Solace chase is where we find most of the car chases from the golden age of car chase movies, the 1970s. Real cars engaging in grounded stunts, high-speed maneuvers, and daring collisions. Which brings us to our next point: grounded action. As CGI and digital filmmaking technologies continue to advance, great car chases become fewer and farther between. Even the best CGI that is practically indistinguishable from the real thing still usually lacks that tangible edge, that sense of heft and weight of a real car on a real road going 90 miles an hour for real. The over-the-top set pieces of the Fast and Furious movies should be incredibly exciting, and maybe they are to you, but it all feels weightless to me when cars start defying the laws of physics. In theory, a sports car jumping from one skyscraper to another should be the most impressive car gag I've ever seen, but in practice, it feels more like a kid playing with Hot Wheels cars. There's a reason why this much smaller jump from John Wick Chapter 2 is infinitely cooler, and that's realism. This can't be pulled off in real life, but this can. Going hand in hand with a sense of realism is a sense of danger. And I'm not talking about a sense of danger for the characters. We'll get to that later. For now, I'm talking about a sense of real-world danger. Part of what makes good stunt work in general so exciting, and what adds an extra layer of exhilaration to people like Keanu Reeves, Tom Cruise, and especially Jackie Chan doing their own action, is that it's real. You go into an old-school Jackie Chan movie knowing that he's doing everything for real, even when nobody would blame him for using special effects or workarounds. Did those need to be real hot coals that he fell on? Of course not. But knowing that it was all real adds an extra incalculable level of excitement and appreciation for the action on screen. That same edge-of-your-seat sensation applies directly to car chases as well. Film sets should not be dangerous places. The job of a stunt person is not to throw themselves into deadly situations, but they are trained professionals putting themselves into dangerous positions. And that sense of danger, when filmed appropriately, can add immeasurably to the intensity of an action scene. It's another reason why big, explosive, CG-filled chases rarely, if ever, feel as exhilarating as a smaller chase done for real. For my money, Death Proof has the best car chase ever shot. And a huge part of why it's as effective as it is because of Zoe Bell's death-defying stunt work clinging to the hood throughout the chase. No matter how many times I watch this chase, this moment never fails to make me gasp and give me chills. The French Connection chase shot without permits, this Operation Condor chase packed with fleeing extras, and even this weird near miss from Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2 of all things. These are all edge-of-your-seat exciting moments owing to just how dangerous they look. But they also maybe threw a bit too much caution to the wind as far as safety was concerned. Next, we need to talk about danger for the characters. Every great car chase needs a consistent and believable threat to our heroes throughout its entire duration. You don't want a car chase to be too short, because if it's over too quickly, then it won't give the audience the thrills and adrenaline rush that you're hoping to create. It might seem logical that the opposite would be true as well, that you don't want your car chase to go on for too long either, but this isn't exactly the case with films like Mad Max Fury Road and Duel, proving that an entire film can essentially be one long car chase, and the overall package can still work perfectly. The answer to the question, how long should a car chase be, is however long it needs and deserves to be. Keeping a car chase compelling for an extended period of time is reliant on two key factors. One, a steady flow of exciting moments, and two, a consistent and believable threat to the protagonist at all times. If the threat is lowered or stops being believable, then an audience's investment will plummet. This is another area where the Italian Job comes up short for me. This car chase is extremely long, but the threat from the cops is minuscule throughout. The heroes are able to easily outmaneuver and evade the police consistently. Low stakes. Yet there are always more police magically right on their tail for the next gag to play out, no matter how extravagant their evasive maneuvers. Unbelievable. For as much as I love the opening car chase of Baby Driver, it also suffers a bit from this problem. Baby is constantly pulling off these insanely impressive evasive maneuvers, yet more cops always materialize right behind him, because otherwise the chase would be over too quickly, and he wouldn't have any reason to exercise all of these other cool stunts. It severely undercuts how impressive his driving is and pushes the bounds of plausibility. The longer a chase scene is, the more time and effort must be put into our next point, a satisfying balance of moments and connectors. A car chase might be a single overall experience, but it is comprised of individual moments, also called gags. Every great action sequence consists of memorable moments tethered together with connectors. This is a moment, and this is a moment, and in between them is the connector. The gags are the big moments that stick in your mind, make you tense up, or give you that fuck yeah rush of dopamine. And the connectors are the less flashy beats necessary to link the gags together. The same holds true for car chases. Moment, connector, moment. Moment, connector, moment. Nailing the right balance between gags and connectors is key to a great car chase. It's the moments that make a chase exciting, so all the best chases have a good balance of gags and connectors. Even though the Baby Driver chase might lose me just a bit in terms of believability, it's still a great chase scene because it nails the moments and has a jam-packed frequency of them. But at the same time, having so many gags is precisely what makes it harder to believe that he wouldn't have already lost the police several times over, long before the end of the chase. So maybe we should ask, how could you tether all of these cool moments together in one chase without it feeling unbelievable that the heroes would still be in danger? The solution? Make the chaser and the chasee comparably skilled drivers. Rather than just having the protagonist pulling off slick maneuver after slick maneuver, get an antagonist in on the action to level the playing field. This is where a film like Ronin really shines. Ronin features two excellent car chases that are both extremely long and packed with all manner of death-defying stunts and high-speed maneuvers, yet throughout their extended duration, the stakes always feel high and the danger always feels real. There's no suspension of disbelief required as the chase goes on and continues to escalate. Sure, there are cops involved in the chase that are pretty easily dispatched, but those players are just cannon fodder, icing on the cake. The real heart of the chase is between two equally matched drivers, both putting it all on the line. Next, let's look at an element that isn't necessary to making a great car chase, but it can often heighten the action and elevate a chase scene, and that is external action. Vehicle-centric action happening concurrently with a chase in addition to the driving itself. Whether it be Snake Plissken leaping from vehicle to vehicle along a convoy, Indiana Jones fighting and climbing all over a Nazi truck, the gunplay of the Raid 2, the first-person action of Hardcore Henry, or all of the insanity of Fury Road. External action can make a wonderful accompaniment to any vehicular action sequence. And by the way, if you enjoyed the motorcycle sword fight from John Wick Chapter 3, be sure to check out the South Korean film that did it first. And lastly, every great car chase needs a little dash of originality, some X factor that sets it apart from other chases using similar vehicles in similar locations or similar gags. The X factor could be a novel integration of music. It could be making use of a unique type of vehicle. It might mean shooting the chase in a new presentation style.
Get their faces! Get their faces, Andy! Get their faces! You're fucking crazy!
It might mean leaning into excess for over-the-top thrills and humor.
I've always loved you.
It It might mean slowing things down and getting weird. Or quieting things down and getting clever.
Right hand that reaches around and pulls down Caitlyn's left arm. Just 4 minutes here on the clock in this make-or-break game for the Clippers.
Or it might mean giving the viewers something they've never seen before. If you can nail these 8 points, then you've got a great car chase on your hands. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and or found it informative, let me know and I might make more like it for the future, sort of like an action education video essay series or something along those lines. Action filmmaking is near and dear to my heart and I love talking about it. You can check out my no-budget action short that I made a few years ago back in film school there on the bottom left, or you can check out more video essays in the playlist right there. I also have dedicated videos for some of the films discussed in this essay, so check the description if you want to hear more about movies like The Raid, Ronin, The Hidden, and more. Do you have a favorite car chase that you didn't see featured in this video? Let me know in the comments and I'll check it out if I haven't seen it already. Until next time, so long.